As the Navi. So Hushai, he goes and speaks to David. David ran away from Jerusalem. He's in the mountains. We said yesterday he wanted to do Avodah Zarah. He wanted to make people think he did Avodah Zarah. That way people shouldn't think it's a Halul Hashem that his son is going against him, Avshalom, rebelling. He said, if David's a Sadiq, and look what his son did to him, what's going to be with us? So he said, let me serve Avodah Zarah. That way people will say I'm Rasha, and I deserve that my son rebels against me. But Hushai convinced him out of it. Hushai said, no, it'll be a bigger Halul Hashem. They're going to say, David, he was so close to Hashem, and he still does Avodah Zarah. How can we not fall to Avodah Zarah if he gave up? So we're also going to give up. So therefore, he talked him out of it. But afterwards, what happens? The Navi says that the Hushai came to him and said, listen, I'm going to go back to the city. I'm going to go to Avshalom. Hushai said, I'll go and I'll say, I want to be your servant now. And I'm going to go and pretend to be on his side in order to get you back into Jerusalem. So he says, okay, I agree. And Hushai, David's friend, came to the city, and Avshalom was about to enter Jerusalem. Interesting. It says over here when Pasuk, which one is this? This is Pasuk, okay, so 30. So it says that David was on the mountain, he was crying on Mount Olives, and he was there with no shoes, so we spoke about that yesterday. And then it says he had Adma Rosho, he had dirt on his head. So interesting, Gemara Cholin, it says over there, the mitzvah Shiloh Haken is to separate the mother bird from the eggs on the nest. So that only applies on nests found in trees, on the ground, or on a path. So it says it doesn't apply to a nest when it's being carried by a flying bird, or if it's not on a tree or anything attached to the ground. If it's floating, it doesn't apply. So the Gemara says, what's the case of it floating? So the Gemara says, if it's on a head of a person. So the Pasuk says that the Adama, earth, was on David's head. Adama means that it's considered also on the ground, because it says the word Adama. So therefore, the Gemara wants to bring from this Pasuk a proof that even if it's a nest on somebody's head, it should still be all obligated in Shiloh Haken. So there's a story where there's a student listening to the shiur from the rabbi, and he said, Rabbi, it's preposterous. What in the world is the Gemara talking about? The Gemara's on its head. What do you mean? There's a guy with a nest on his head. Who in the world has a nest on the head? The Gemara is talking nonsense. Kaski, what is this? So then that student, he left his rabbi shiur in Israel, and he went to after the army. They go here, they go there, they go traveling, right? Yeah. So he went to the Middle East, the Far East. He went to some Indonesia, Thailand, whatever it was, right? So he goes and he sees over there monks. He says there was this one monk. He's standing on the mountain. He didn't move for 1 month. He's doing meditation. Om. He says he didn't move for so long, they even built a nest on his head. He came back to the rabbi, Mechila, I'm sorry, Rabbi, I'm sorry. How did I make fun of the Gemara? Rabbi, I'm so sorry. He made teshuva. So you see, a person has to have emunat chachamim, because the Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan, that he said a story, he said Midrash, that in the end of the days, we're going to have the temple. There's going to be beautiful gates to Yerushalayim made out of huge gems, huge diamonds, huge rocks. So then the student said, nah, Rabbi, what is this Skaski? The Midrash is saying, you know how big these stones is? We can't find such a stone today. So he said, be careful, you don't believe. So then he went on a boat afterwards, the student, and he sees in the ocean these angels carrying these huge gems. In the middle of the ocean, he sees like a vision. So then he's like, wow. He came back to the Rabbi Yochanan and he said, Rabbi Yochanan, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I saw when I was on the boat. I saw angels. I saw them carrying these rocks. You were right. The Gemara is true. He said, you only believe because you saw. If you didn't see, you wouldn't believe. The Gemara says that he put his eyes on him and he died. He upset him very much. He put a lot of din on him. So you see that the person has to have emunat chachamim, and applies by this interesting case as well. Okay, so it's chapter 16. David עבר מעט מהראש, והנה נציבה נער מפיבוש לקטו וצם לחמורים וחבושים עליהם 200 לחם מצימוקים מהקיץ ונבל יין. David came past the summit, and Tziva, Mephibosheth's servant, was in front of him, with a pair of donkeys, 200 bread, 100 cluster raisins, dried figs, and wine. So the king asked Tziva, Mephibosheth's servant, he says, what do you have these things? He says, what do you mean? The donkey is for the king's household to ride on. This is for the kids. This is for the exhausted one. And he says, where's the son of your master Mephibosheth? Tziva said, he's staying in Yerushalayim. Today the house of Israel he said, today the house of Israel will restore my father's kingdom to me. Whoa. So now what is Tziva saying? Tziva's told David, he said that Mephibosheth is saying that today I'm going to get the kingdom back. So he's making a little bit of a janganos. He's making a little bit of a fight between David and Mephibosheth. So the king said to Tziva, everything that Mephibosheth owns is now yours. And then Tziva prostrated himself in front of him. And he said, may I find favor in the eyes of my king. So David got upset. And he gave everything that Mephibosheth has. He thought he's rebelling against him also. So he said he gave it everything to Tziva. So interesting. Over here, Mephibosheth was the son of David's friend, Yonatan, who was the son of the king Shaul. Tziva was a Canaanite slave from the house of Shaul. And now what? And now when he asked Tziva about Mephibosheth, he says, Mephibosheth is rebelling against you. David made a mistake. You shouldn't have accepted that Shonara. That's Moti Shemra, right? Not necessarily was it true. And then also it says that he decided to give everything away to Tziva. He should have thought before transferring such a huge amount of money to verify just on a whim on someone's report to right away make a rash decision. That was the error on David's part. Okay, fine. The pasuk says David came to Bachorim, the city of Bachorim. And what happened? Look how David's getting smacked left and right. He goes, and there was a man from Shaul's family named Shimi ben Gera. And he was cursing as he was coming out. He threw rocks at David and all his servants, and they, as well as the people and the soldiers. And Shimi said, Isha damim, Isha bele'al. Go out, you man of bloodshed, you base man. Hashem is repaying you for all the blood of the house of Shaul and giving the kingdom to Avshalom, your son. Now you're a man of bloodshed. Basically, you deserve everything he's going through. Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? And Avishai, the son of Zeruiah, gets upset. He says, King, David, what are you doing? Look at this guy. Let me get rid of him. How is he talking to you? The king says, what does it matter to you? Is he cursing you? He's not cursing you. He's cursing me. And if he's cursing me, you know what that means? Hashem told him to curse David. So therefore, why do I have to get upset? Leave him alone. He's don't pay attention to him. David told Avishai and all his servants, look at me, my own son. The one who came from my innards is seeking my life. Now, this one is also cursing me. Leave him alone. That's it. It is what it is. What am I going to rely on? How is David going to fix all this? Look what he says. He says, Ula yir'e Adonai be'eni. Ve'ashiv Adonai li tovata haklaklato hayom hazeh. Hashem will see my eye. It has a tear. And Hashem will repay me with goodness instead of this curse today. So David teaches an awesome lesson. He says, if somebody's cursing you and you're going through so much suffering, he says, don't worry. If you accept it ba'ava, it's going to be a big blessing that's going to come out of it. It's going to be a huge blessing. He says, Hashem doesn't leave us empty-handed. David didn't feel that he really did anything wrong. He was doing the right thing. Sometimes people are so good at making you feel guilty and making you feel like you did the wrong thing. They victimize themselves and they make you sound like the weird person, but really they are. So a person has to know, you should fight fire with fire. No, let them talk. As they say, hater is going to hate. And then eventually Hashem will fulfill the good in the end for you. And not in the beginning, not always in the middle, but most of the time in the end, you'll see how it'll come out kol tova. So what did he do? וילך דוד ואנשי בדרך, ושימי הולך ויצא להר, נמתו הלוך ויקלל וסקל אבנים, נמתו ועפר ואפר. David continued on the way. Shimon was throwing rocks, and he threw dirt, and they passed by him. They didn't pay attention to him. What do we see from here? This is actually the moment that David becomes the fourth leg Kisei HaKavod, right? It's very, very hard. The zechut, the Gemara says, the zechut, a person who gets insulted, he gets threatened, and he doesn't say anything. He's like considered like the one who, the zechut of him, the whole world stands, right? Tolei haaretz al belima, al zeh shebolem pi b'shat meriva. So therefore, a person who holds his mouth is such a big test, such a hard thing to overcome. But if you're able to overcome that, you're like tzaddik yisod olam. You're like the tzaddik that supports the entire world, the foundation of the world. So therefore, that's when David got that zechut. He got the zechut, the fourth like Kisei HaKavod. He's like the tzaddik yisod olam. He's like Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. He's like the one who the whole world exists for his sake. So therefore, a person has to make sure to learn from David To be smart. How does to be smart? To be smart means to be the bigger person, not to be petty.